Battle Through the Heavens God, The Flame Emperor Chapter 126, Three-Winged Unicorn. The milky white flame column collided heavily with the energy light. When the energy light moved nearly 10 meters away, the freezing power of a milky white flame spread rapidly and then froze it. The heavenly fire has the characteristics of extremely deep cold and hot, bone-chilling spirit flame. Frozen. The flying figure dashed past. Xiaoyan's toes tapped on the light that turned into ice. A dark energy passed from the toes, and suddenly, the energy light burst with a bang. In the midst of the icy storm, Xiaoyan's body rushed out of the hole in the flame wall like lightning, and then suddenly stopped and descended, quietly looking at the woman in blue who suddenly stopped flying. After Xiaoyan stopped and looked at the woman opposite, milky white flames were constantly spitting out between the former's palms. Staring at the woman in blue, Xiaoyan muttered to himself, "Why didn't she run away?" After thinking to no avail, Xiaoyan shook his head. His eyes did not move on the woman in blue. He was silent for a while, and said, "Your strength is indeed much stronger than mine, and it may be difficult for me to keep you alone. But it's a pity, you are now within the energy barrier that I have set up, and I can feel that you don't seem to be good at fighting. Hand over Qingyuan, I also don't want to have conflict with you," Xiaoyan said solemnly. "That can't be done. I came to the lower realm to find what I left behind. I have been searching for decades, and now I am lucky enough to meet you, not to mention the strength of your 3-star Dodi's peak, even if you are a 5-star Dodi powerhouse. I will never let go." The woman in blue shook her head with a smile, and there was no negotiable tone in her voice. However, the Xiaoyan figure is also surprised. The flame on the man in front of her is obviously a special flame, and the terrifying high temperature has some other powers. Also, the young man in front of her can actually find that she is not good at fighting, found during the attack. What about adding someone? Looking at the woman in blue with a gloomy face, Xiaoyan's patience was gradually exhausted, and he did not delay. With a low voice, a huge soul force also emerged from the soul realm, and then condensed into a breath that was exactly the same as Xiaoyan. The figure appeared out of thin air. The two joined forces to prepare to launch a fierce attack again. "It's actually an Emperor Realm mortal soul avatar, it's really amazing." The Xiaoyan figure was also looking at the identical two people in front of her and said slowly, "With her strength at the peak of the 5-star Dodi, it is natural to recognize Xiaoyan's method, and if it weren't for some special reasons of her own, it would not be so difficult to deal with a boy of a 3-star Dodi. Although I'm not good at fighting, with just the two of you, even if you fight head-on, you won't necessarily be able to defeat me," the woman in blue said with a somewhat arrogant smile. "Then let's give it a try," Xiaoyan replied with a sneer. There are still many secrets in Qingyuan, who can be praised by his master the Golden King, who has always been high-minded and low-handed. This purple-winged angel is definitely not simple, so until he finds a suitable place for Qingyuan, he will definitely not let others take her away. This is the first time Xiaoyan has used it since he learned about the mortal avatar of the Emperor Realm, which is enough to show the importance he attaches to Qingyuan. Xiaoyan was dressed in black, and his soul avatar was dressed in white, which formed a clear contrast with Xiaoyan himself. Between the palms of the two, milky white flames slowly surrounded them, and the flames burned more and more fiercely. "Two big men bully the young with more, but I will no longer fight with one and two." Shaking his head regretfully, a pair of pure white wings behind the woman in blue also slowly appeared in Xiaoyan's line of sight. Boom boom boom. After the pure white wings appeared, the Xiaoyan figure's pupils also shrank tightly, and then Xiaoyan felt a slightly sharp soul force. Although it was not strong, the soul force contained a strange wave, rising from the sky spread out. Boom. The terrifying soul impact also made the two Xiaoyan have to use their soul power to defend. Not long after the wave of the soul came out, the edge of the energy barrier in the distance suddenly echoed the same sound, and then a huge beast nearly 10 feet, soared into the sky, and then flew towards the sky. Then a huge shadow shrouded the ground of the small woods downstream of the waterfall. The giant beast is extremely slender and looks like a horse, but it has a single horn on its forehead, and its 3 pairs of white wings are quite conspicuous. But the flying speed of this beast is so fast that some people are shocked. He saw that the huge wings twisted and swung, and it turned out to be like a teleportation. After a few flashes, it was not far from place where the woman in blue. As the giant beast approached, its full picture, was completely captured by Xiaoyan. Suddenly, he couldn't help taking a breath of cold air. A three-winged unicorn. It is said that the unicorn has 9 wings at the highest, and its strength is comparable to that of a human being, but it is quite difficult for you to deal with this unicorn in front of you, Xiaoyan. The voice of the Golden Dragon King also appeared slowly. Huh. Just when the voice of the Golden Dragon King appeared in Xiaoyan's body, the three-winged unicorn that flew over also raised its arrogant head to look at Xiaoyan and said, "Why do you have a familiar aura? I also feel the same way. I don't know if it's an illusion." "Okay, don't worry about it for now, you stop him, I'll take this girl away first," the blue figure also said. "Are you sure?" The three-winged unicorn also looked at Qing Yuan in the blue figure's arms and said slowly, "Well, purple. Let's go, you know it's me who does the dirty work." The three-winged unicorn also snorted. Hearing the words, the cyan figure also skyrocketed in speed, roaring away towards the edge of the energy barrier with Qing Yuan. "Stop." Seeing this, Xiaoyan also immediately launched the 3000 lightning movement, trying to catch up with the cyan figure. "Your opponent is me." A terrifying hurricane of energy attacked Xiaoyan with a voice. Damn it. Xiaoyan also had to be distracted to fight against the three-winged unicorn. After carefully feeling the strength of the three-winged unicorn, the two Xiaoyan also frowned. These three-winged unicorns are actually strong human beings that are comparable to the peak of the 4-star Dode. This has to make Xiaoyan pay attention, and then the soul avatar is also put away. At this time, the number is not an advantage, and if something happens to the soul avatar, Xiaoyan can't see the damage to the source. But if you want to catch up with the cyan figure, you have to defeat the three-winged unicorn first. It's troublesome. Xiaoyan's face suddenly became extremely gloomy, sensing this terrifying moment. Chapter 127, Leave. At this time, Qing Yuan, who had been in a coma, also slowly woke up. Then the mysterious woman in blue gently flicked Qing Yuan's forehead with her slender hand, who was constantly struggling in her arms. Suddenly, Qing Yuan, who had just woken up, was in a coma. Strange to say, just when Qing Yuan woke up, a piece of purple feathers fell off the purple wings behind her and flew towards Xiaoyan, and the cyan woman didn't notice either. Seeing this, Xiaoyan also hurriedly stretched out his hand to catch it. Although he didn't know what the purple feather was for, of course Qing Yuan must have done it her own way. The three-winged unicorn also looked at Xiaoyan quietly, as if disdainful. "Hey, little guy, don't worry, I can't bear to hurt you." Gently stroking the coquettish purple wings on Qing Yuan's back, the woman in blue smiled docilely and softly as if she was treating her daughter, and gently held her in her arms with her left hand. Only then did she raise her head, staring at Xiaoyan, who had a vicious gaze, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, little human brother, this girl is very precious, and we can't bear to hurt her." "Who is your excellency? Why did you caught Qing Yuan?" Xiaoyan stared at the woman in blue, his eyes narrowed, and he said coldly, although he didn't know who these people were, Xiaoyan was certain that he would definitely be inseparable related from the angel family. "Is this little guy's name Qing Yuan? Haha, it's really not bad." The woman in blue smiled, her slender fingers carefully lifting Qing Yuan's bangs. Looking closely at the mysterious rune on the forehead, the rune was also blooming with a coquettish purple, and then nodded with satisfaction, and whispered softly, "It really is the purple wing. It seems that our luck this time is good." The action of the woman in blue lifted Qing Yuan's bangs, causing Xiaoyan's mouth to twitch a few times, and now he also understands that this mysterious woman is also aimed at the purple wings of Qing Yuan's angel family. After the woman in blue appeared, his master, the Golden Dragon King, had been silent for a long time, thinking that he was worried that if he contacted Xiaoyan again, his existence would be detected. Xiaoyan, who knew this, did not ask in his heart the identity of the opponent. "Why did the aura you burst out earlier make me feel familiar? Could it be that we have been in contact before?" The woman in blue suddenly raised her head and stared at Xiaoyan, her brows slightly frowned, and she asked with a little doubt, "Really?" A non-committal answer. Xiaoyan said coldly, "No matter who your excellency is, please return Qing Yuan to me, otherwise, I can only get her by force. Hey, this little girl is extremely important to me, and it's impossible to give it to you." The woman in blue smiled and shook her head. Her eyes drifted over Xiaoyan, and she said with a light smile, "I'll go first." "Stop." Hearing the words of the woman in blue, Xiaoyan no longer hesitated. With a low voice, a terrifying milky white flame violently surged out of his body. Suddenly, the temperature downstream of the waterfall suddenly increased. His toes slammed on the top of the tree, and suddenly, cracks spread rapidly from his toes. In the end, it spread all the way to the surface, and the huge trees became fragmented in an instant. With the power of ejection, Xiaoyan's body, like the bullet that came out of the chamber, it shot violently at the woman in blue who was just about to escape. The figure flashed across the air. Xiaoyan's fist wrapped in milky white flames, mixed with a sonic boom and fiery heat, slammed into the woman in blue. After the woman in blue pondered for a moment, she stumped the sole of her feet. With the sound of clicking, the trees underfoot exploded violently. At the same time, the clean white wings on the back of the woman in blue slowly expanded, and 10 clean white energy whips shot out from the wings behind her. The long whip fluttered around, wrapping her entire body in it, and Xiaoyan's terrifying attack was easily resolved, and he was also ejected away. "Your opponent is me." The three-winged unicorn standing beside her slowly flapped the 3 pairs of pure white wings behind it, and then the beast's eyes stared at Xiaoyan. Watching the Xian figure slowly escape with Qing Yuan, Xiaoyan's knees were slightly bent, and his body was in the shape of a bow. After an instant, it suddenly rose, and lightning appeared above the head of the woman in blue at the edge of the energy barrier. His body tumbled in the air, and after the instep turned violently to borrow strength. With a whistling sound of breaking the wind, it slammed heavily on the shoulder of the woman in blue. Bang! As soon as he hit the enemy, Xiaoyan's face did not show the slightest joy, because it was in his perception. What he hit didn't seem to be a human body, but a fluffy feather. Moreover, the feathers even reflected some of his bursting energy back, making Xiaoyan's figure slightly unstable. "Ghana, don't patronize the show, stop him so I can take the little girl to go first. Otherwise I will attract the strong men next to the demonic beast mountains. If this mission fails, the consequences is not small." Xiaoyan smashed it in the middle, the woman in blue said with a slight dissatisfaction, and then fiercely said to the three-winged unicorn standing in the same place as if watching a play, I know, this woman is really long-winded." The three-winged unicorn also said impatiently. Obviously, the three-winged unicorn did not take Xiaoyan seriously. After all, the latter is just a strength of the peak 3-star Dode and it is really not worth mentioning. After speaking, the wings on the back of the three-winged unicorn flapped slowly, and then, on top of that, an invisible wave of terror emerged spontaneously. A pair of feathers were raised gently, and a majestic white energy column aimed at Xiaoyan's chest and sprayed out. With his arms crossed in front of his chest, milky white flames suddenly rose up, resisting the energy column as much as possible. Although his opponent's attack did not cause much damage to Xiaoyan, it is possible that the strength contained in the measuring column still pushed Xiaoyan back a bit. Hey, farewell. But little brother can rest assured, this little girl, I will not hurt her. And this little girl has also been taken care of by you all these years. Ghana, don't hurt him. The woman in blue said with a smile, the wings on her back slowly stretched out, and then swept away towards the sky outside the energy barrier. After the Xian figure finished speaking, it flew away from the edge of the energy barrier, and the huge three-winged unicorn also slowly looked at Xiaoyan. Damn it! Xiaoyan also yelled. This Xian figure was really cunning, and immediately had to face the three-winged unicorn in front of him solemnly. Human boy, since you are the little girl's brother, I should respect you, but you are not qualified now. You can stay here for a few minutes at ease, and I will naturally wait for the woman to go away. I won't make it difficult for you, but if you insist on chasing it, then I will. The three-winged unicorn slowly stared at Xiaoyan, and Chapter 128, Confrontation. Want to leave? Leave the person behind. Seeing the woman in blue swept away toward the edge of the energy barrier, Xiaoyan's face sank. 3,000 lightning movements shot out, and his figure burst out. Because Xiaoyan also knew that as long as they were still in the energy barrier, they would still be able to sense the aura of the Xian figure, but once the woman in blue stepped out of the energy barrier, if Xiaoyan's want to look for her, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Hehe, your opponent is me. Seeing Xiaoyan who wanted to fly past him, the three-winged unicorn smiled, its 3 wings vibrated in unison, and its huge body instantly appeared in Xiaoyan's flight. On the way, the tail of the beast slammed violently, and the terrifying power contained on it turned out to make the space feel a little twisted and broken. Aware of the horror from the power of the unicorn's tail, Xiaoyan's expression changed slightly. He did not dare to take it hard. His body quickly twisted, and he dodged it away, but although he avoided the attack, the purpose of his pursuit was blocked down. Damn it! Xiaoyan cursed in a low voice. But he had to give up tracking the Xian woman, and his body was dodging the three-winged unicorn's successive attacks. The wind howled, and terrifying flames were projected into it. In an instant, a white tornado covered with terrifying high temperature appeared out of thin air in the sky. With his own strength, he built such a fierce flame storm. Even with Xiaoyan's strength, a little cold sweat could not help but appear on his forehead. Get away from me! With a low voice, looking at the three-winged unicorn that quickly retreated to the side, Xiaoyan waved his sleeve robe, and the huge flame storm, with a sharp wind-breaking sound, whistled towards the three-winged unicorn. The horned beast swept away. Hey, the momentum is not bad, but I am a 4-star dode, how can you fight me with your 3-star strength? Haha. Looking at the storm of flames, the three-winged unicorn laughed loudly, and his back with his pure white wings swayed gently, and black flames suddenly burst out from his body, and then continuously sent out. Finally, above its head, it condensed into a black tornado of the same size. After doing all this, the tail of the three-winged unicorn slammed violently, and the huge storm that was completely condensed by the strange black flames shot out violently, mixed with an almost terrifying energy, ruthlessly hit the white flame storm. The white storm and the black storm collided fiercely, and terrifying energy fluctuations were slowly brewing. At the moment when the two collided, the place where the two touched the ground seemed to be split open by the shock of tiny black cracks. Bang! The two terrifying energies, one white and one black, were deadlocked with each other for a while, and they exploded above the sky. The violent explosion of energy could still be faintly heard even at a distance of a kilometer. At the moment when the two white and black flames exploded, a circle of energy ripples spread from the place where they exploded, causing Xiaoyan and the three-winged unicorn to retreat rapidly at the same time. Haha, this human boy is really interesting. No wonder he was able to stop that woman for so long, so he have some self-confidence. Looking at Xiaoyan, whose face was covered in cold sweat, the three-winged unicorn laughed loudly. The flame divides the wave ruler. The three-winged unicorn's laughter has not yet completely fallen, but the huge beast's pupil shrank suddenly, and the white scales all over its body suddenly contracted strangely. Before the three-winged unicorn could make a move, Xiaoyan's shout had just fallen, and the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand was also raised slowly, slashing viciously towards the giant beast in front of him. The milky white flame above the ancient ruler of eternal fire carried the sky-high light and roared away. The three-winged unicorn also seemed to know Xiaoyan's method, and then the 3 pairs of wings on the back quickly waved, and the seemingly terrifying flame was dissolved out of thin air. The three-winged unicorn was impressively waving its wings on its back to control the airflow, causing Xiaoyan's terrifying flames to move away slightly, thus deflecting Xiaoyan's attack. Although Xiaoyan's attack was deflected subtly, pieces of pale white feathers fell off from the wings on its back, and then quickly wrapped the huge body of the three-winged unicorn in it. Seeing this, Xiaoyan didn't care about the three-winged unicorn, and the 3,000 lightning movements were exerted to the extreme. At the waist of the huge body of the three-winged unicorn, Xiaoyan's figure suddenly flashed out, the fist covered with milky white flames, suddenly held tight. On top of the sturdy fist, there was not only a terrifying high temperature, but also a vicious wind energy mixed with it, like a thunderbolt. It smashed down fiercely. At this moment, the arm under Xiaoyan's wide black sleeve robe seems to have become as tough as steel. Bang! The fist slammed heavily on the body of the three-winged unicorn, but Xiaoyan's face became extremely ugly, because in his perception, the body of the three-winged unicorn, because it was wrapped by the feather, suddenly became like a soft cotton jacket, and the fist smashed it, but in the end it actually stuck to the feather on the surface of its body and bounced out. However, although most of the attacks were unsuccessful, there was still a small part of it that hit the body of the three-winged unicorn. It was the small part of the feather that let the punch fall, curled up. Hey, your flame is a bit strange, but it's just missing something. otherwise it will be a match for the legendary Holy Flame. Looking at Xiaoyan with interest, he was immediately attacked by Xiaoyan's fist containing terrifying flames. The slightest pain from his body caused the huge body with 3 wings and 1 horn to shrunk violently. It smashed on Xiaoyan's back, and suddenly, it was smashed like a ball and flew out. Puffed. The huge force on his back caused Xiaoyan to spit out a small mouthful of blood, and hurriedly turned his body into flames before he stabilized his staggering figure. Damn it, this beast is so difficult to deal with. Xiaoyan also muttered to himself. Moreover, the 3-winged unicorn obviously did not intend to take action against Xiaoyan, and was always on the defensive, as if everything it did was just to delay time. During the time it delayed, the Xian woman also brought Qingyuan early disappeared in the energy barrier. Looking at the huge beast like a tree in the sky in front of him, Xiaoyan had to stand up solemnly. The milky white flame is useless against it, and the flame-splitting wave ruler is also useless. It is estimated that even the more powerful 7th-layer sky-breaking ruler can achieve very little effect. Seeing the milky white flames beating constantly on his body, and there seemed to be many colors in the milky white flames, Xiaoyan had a bold idea in his Chapter 129, Crazy Move. This almost crazy thought made Xiaoyan shiver involuntarily, but no matter how he suppressed it, the thought still lingered in his heart. Under the ineffectiveness of such expulsion, Xiaoyan unconsciously became fascinated by this idea, and muttered in his heart, since he was promoted to Dode, he has never done this. On the opposite side, the 3-winged unicorn shakes its huge tail slightly. Every time the giant tail swings, it will create a strong wind in the sky. What a terrifying force. Hehe, did you finally give up? The 3-winged unicorn's huge pupils glanced at Xiaoyan, who was silent across from him, and couldn't help laughing. It's better to give up, it will save you wasting energy. With a smile, the 3-winged unicorn raised its arrogant head slightly and turned its head slightly, staring at the distant sky, and muttered in a low voice, that woman must have reached a safe place. My interception mission should end. Then he turned his head to look at Xiaoyan, and in the sound of laughter, there was some arrogant sarcasm. You human boy is not bad among the human beings I have seen, and you will surpass me one day if you practice hard. After speaking, the giant tail of the 3-winged unicorn swayed slightly, its eyes fixed on Xiaoyan's every move, and its body slowly moved back. Obviously, cautiously, it was already looking for a way out. The human boy is the little girl's brother. If he shoots at him, when he goes back, the little girl will definitely not be able to eat and walk away when he finds out. Xiaoyan's eyes were fixed on the 3-winged unicorn that was gradually retreating. Xiaoyan's struggling thoughts finally settled down. His hands slowly stretched out. His slender and fair palms, like a woman, did not seem to have any force. Hey, why, still won't give up? Although you have a strange flame, but looking at the flame, it is obviously missing something important, so it seems that you can't exert its power at all now. When Xiaoyan moved, the moving body of the 3-winged unicorn stopped immediately. Its pupils stared at Xiaoyan, and sneered a little impatiently. Hearing the words of the 3-winged unicorn, Xiaoyan also frowned. Obviously, the eyes of the 3-winged unicorn are also vicious. Since he came to this Dode continent, his heavenly fire seems to be missing something. There is no such thing at all. It is very handy to use in Dochi continent. Then he hesitated for a while, his hands turned to the sky, placed flat in front of him, slightly silent, and above his left hand, milky white flames roared out. The scorching temperature burned the space in front of it slightly distorted and illusory. The left hand tightened slightly, the gloomy milky white flame quietly churned, releasing a fierce energy. The huge 3-winged unicorn stared at Xiaoyan mockingly with its pupils turned slightly, without the slightest nervousness. Although the flame had a certain restraint effect on him, for some reason, the human boy in front of him did not seem to be able to. It stimulates all the power that belongs to it, so the 3-winged unicorn is not very afraid. The ridicule in the pupils of the beast existed for a moment. On the left hand of Xiaoyan, the milky white flame suddenly disintegrated into multiple flames and appeared in front of him. A very humane appearance appeared in the beast's pupil. 22 flames? Damn it! How is it possible? How can you have so many sources of flame in your body? Feeling the 22 flames in front of him, the 3-winged unicorn's beast pupils were sluggish. In an instant, as if being stepped on the tail, the huge body bowed, and the sharp voice resounded in the sky in annoyance. Because with the eyesight of a three-winged unicorn, it was naturally felt when the original milky white flame in front of Xiaoyan decomposed into 22 kinds of flames. The 22 kinds of flames. Decomposed by milky white flames, each flame has a completely different source power. It's unbelievable, you little human fellow, how can you have so many flames from heaven and earth? The three-winged unicorn is also well informed, feeling the terrifying high temperature of Xiaoyan's flames, and every flame the power contained in them is also different, but these flames are much weaker than the holy flames, so it boils down to the mysterious flames born between heaven and earth. The three-winged unicorn stared at the space in front of Xiaoyan, and took a deep breath of cold air. His heart felt as if the river was overturned. With his knowledge, he had never heard of anyone who could have so many flames from heaven and earth at the same time. You must know that even if it is not as good as the holy flame, the mysterious flames born between heaven and earth are domineering and extremely destructive. The two flames are as incompatible as old enemies. If the two flames exist in one person at the same time within the body, it is estimated that there can only be one ending. That is two extremely unstable bombs colliding with each other, and the final outcome, naturally, in the splendid explosion, destroy each other. But the young man in front of him has 22 kinds in his body. The three-winged unicorn doesn't know why Xiaoyan can have so many flames at the same time, but he clearly feels that at the moment when these flames appeared, the human boy in front of him and the flames were originally docile energy factor, suddenly became a lot more irritable. Opposite Xiaoyan, the three-winged unicorn was still yelling angrily. Obviously, Xiaoyan was able to have so many realities at the same time, which made him a lot of blows. Ignoring the three-winged unicorn that jumped around like a loach, Xiaoyan stared at the 22 different colored fires in front of him. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. After a while, he bit his teeth, and the terrifying soul power emerged. Then he carried 22 violent sources of strange fire in his hands, and slowly moved closer to the middle. Fuck, lunatic, lunatic. This guy is absolutely crazy. Looking at Xiaoyan's move in horror, the three-winged unicorn cursed loudly. After scolding, the three-winged unicorn retreated for a distance, and then looked at Xiaoyan from a distance. Obviously, the three-winged unicorn felt a wave that could destroy him. Xiaoyan didn't have any hesitation. The three-winged unicorn in front of him was obviously the same group as the previous woman. If he could capture this three-winged unicorn, he would definitely be able to ask Xingyuan's whereabouts, so he didn't hesitate. In his crazy thoughts, since he created the heavenly fire fusion skills when he was in the Douqi continent, he doesn't use it since the inheritance of his master Tuoshi Gude. After all, Xiaoyi or Xiaoyan used the angry Buddha's fire lotus, which was fused with 22 kinds of flames. Although the power is equally huge, which of the fusion flames were swallowed and refined by Xiaoyan factor, a little more tame, so the power is much smaller. The fusion of the former is the power of the different fire after being domesticated by Xiaoyan, and the fusion of the power of the source of the different fire is two completely different concepts. The former is the angry Buddha's fire lotus transformed by the fusion of gentle flames, while the latter is the fusion of the origin of different heavenly fires, which was the fusion of terrifying and violent factors at the beginning of it. Chapter 130, 22 Kinds of Heavenly Fire's Origin Power. Ever since the battle with Hall of Soul Emperor on Douqi continent, Xiaoyan has never tried to fuse the 22 kinds of different heavenly fire origin powers in his body. Even before this, Xiaoyan had only tried the 7-color fire lotus, and Xiaoyan had never tried the fusion of the origin of all the different heavenly fires on the Douqi continent. If it comes out of fusion, then even a 4-star Dode powerhouse can be killed. With such a nervous murmur in his heart, Xiaoyan's hands trembled, and then he looked at the many familiar flames in front of him. It's been a long time, my friends. Xiaoyan also greeted the 22 flames in front of him with a smile, and Xiaoyan also memorized every type of flame in front of him. On the Douqi continent's list of different heavenly fires, in addition to the first one that didn't exist, there were also 22 types. Ancient Emperor Tuoshi himself was one of them, and he was devouring the other 22 on the list of different fires. After a heavenly fire, he became the first heavenly fire on the list, with 22 hair colors. A black flame in front of it is called nihility devouring flame, ranking 2nd, color, black. This fire is born in nothingness, there is no form to be found, invisible to grasp, it is a rather strange existence. Nihility swallows devouring flame, known as the thing that swallows the sky and the earth, that has the ability to devour all things. Between the heaven and the earth, only a few things can resist the ability to swallow. The milky white flame in front of it is called the purifying demonic lotus flame, ranking 3rd, color, milky white, pink when it is extremely rich, and has the special effect of purifying everything into nothingness. You can even use human emotions as a guide to enter the body, and the body and soul will be purified into nothingness. The power is terrifying. The golden flame in front of him is called the Gold Emperor incinerating flame, ranking 4th, color, golden. This kind of heavenly fire is the fire inherited from the ancient clan, and few people can subdue it. Gold Emperor incinerating flame is known as the terrifying fire that burns even dochi. A creamy green flame in front of him is called the living spirit flame, ranking 5th, color, green, a liquid-like green flame. Rising in the face of the storm, the green liquid fire fills the sea, and layers of mist rise up, where the mist rises. In the meantime, countless kinds of strange medicinal materials slowly grew up, filled with a moving breath of life. In front of it is a light black flame called the 8-waste destruction flame, ranking 6th, color, light black, the highest level of heavenly flames owned by the Yen clan, which has been injected with an indelible soul imprint by the controllers of the Yen clan of all dynasties. Xiaoyan of the Yen clan once turned it into a pair of huge flame wings, which are really overbearing. The golden flame in front of it is called the 9 golden ancestral flame, ranking 7th, color, golden, originally owned by the Juyude of the Ming clan, but now owned by the Yen clan. It has merged with the volcanic stone flame to form a new type of heavenly fire, can compete with the Gold Emperor incinerating flame without falling behind. In front of him is a group of crimson flames called Red Lotus Flame, rank 8th, color, crimson, quite coquettish flames, and when the flames rise, they will form a shape of red lotus. A group of purple-black flames in front of it is called 3000 Burning Flame, rank 9th, color, purple-black. When it is extremely rich, it is pure black. It is also known as 3000 Stars of Flame. The fire is purple-black and takes shape in the starry sky. It can absorb the power of the stars and continuously become stronger. Silver fires fall from the sky, and 1,000 miles of land are like deserts. Day and night do not distinguish, the stars do not appear, and the sun does not shine. There is a black flame in front of it called the 9 Eerie Wind Flame, rank 10th, color, black, born in the endless abyss of the extremely yin land, where the yin wind is endless all year round, and this heavenly fire is formed in the wind-violent place. This fire has a strange wind sound coming from it, and when this wind sound enters people's ears, it will make people feel a little bit of irritability, and this strange sound can cause emotional fluctuations in people. A group of white flames in front of it is called Bone-Chilling Flame, rank 11th, color, forest white, a heavenly flame that combines extreme cold and extreme heat. The cold meets the extremely yin land. The silver flame in front of it is called the 9 Dragon Lightning Flame, ranking 12th, color, silver. It has been passed down by the Burning Flame Valley for hundreds of years, and the powerhouses from their dynasties have marked an indelible blood soul in the source of fire, unless you have practiced the Burning Flame Valley's suppressing cultivation technique Qingming Yuyanju. Otherwise, even if you get the 9 dragons lightning flame, it is absolutely impossible to use it for your own use. Silver flames, as the flames rise, and faintly, 9 silver fire dragons can be seen, traveling through the flames. Within the heavenly fire, there is a condensation of dragon power, so it has the magical effect of shocking the soul. The silver flames are burning, and 9 small fire dragons shuttle around in it, as if they have spiritual wisdom, and there are some faint dragon powers that permeate out from it. It makes people's soul power feel a little depressed. There is a brown flame in front of it called Turtle Spirit Flame, ranking 13th, color, brown, shaped like a giant tortoise, covered with sharp fire thorns, and in the ferocious giant mouth, the brown strangeness full of fangs like blades flame. A group of transparent and colorless flames in front of them is called Falling Heart Flame, ranking 14th, color, transparent and colorless. When it is extremely rich, it is milky white. Known as a practice cheating device, it can speed up the cultivation. Once the fallen heart flame is successfully refined, a kind of heart fire will be continuously generated in the body, and this heart fire will be completely uncontrolled every day, every night. The vindictive energy in the body is calcined every moment, and in these almost non-stop quenching, it is as if the body is in a state of cultivation all the time, and this state of cultivation, the effect is even better than the usual practice. This kind of cultivation is naturally much higher than ordinary cultivation, so it is called a cheating device. Fire is born from the heart, quenching gas and refining bones. This fire can also summon the fire of the heart, which burns people from the inside out. A dark blue flame in front of him is called the sea heart flame, ranking 15th, color, dark blue. It looks extremely mysterious. The rising flame spreads out slowly like clear sea water. Ripples, like water waves. In front of him is a fiery red flame called flaming cloud water flame, ranking 16th, color, fiery red, shaped like a fire cloud, a magical flame with the power of water. The dark red flame in front of it is called volcanic stone flame, ranking 17th, color, dark red. It is now owned by the Yen clan. It has merged with the 9 golden ancestral flame to create a new type of special fire, which can compete with the gold Emperor incinerating flame. Rather than falling behind, the green flame in front of it is called angry water flame, rank 18th, color, transparent green. This fire is born from water, so it has this name. It is heard that this fire can control the flow of water. The cyan flame in front of it is called the green lotus core flame, ranking 19th, color, pure cyan, dark cyan when extremely rich, born in the depths of the earth, after countless tempering, fusion, compression, carving. 10 years into a spirit, 100 years into a lotus, 1,000 years into a lotus. When it is completed, its color is blue, and the lotus heart produces a cluster of green fire, which is called lotus core flame, also known as green lotus core flame. The power of this fire is unpredictable. In the vicinity of the volcanic area, it can even cause volcanic eruptions. It forms the destructive force of nature. The treasure that coexists with this fire is the blue lotus seed. When cultivating, you can come down, and also it makes people very sensitive to the fire attribute energy between heaven and earth, and can only make jade objects, such as jade rulers, jade knives, etc., cut down from the rocks at the bottom of the volcano. Earth fire lotus seeds are the treasures produced on the lotus pedestal and are widely used. Only when the green lotus core flame and the azure pedestal are co-located, they will only condense 1 in 100 years. The fire lotus seeds prove that this group of green lotus core flame has existed for at least 1,100 years. The golden red flame in front of him is called dragon phoenix flame, ranking 20th. It was born in the attributes of gold or wood, and has the magical effect of being able to transform gold and wood. In front of him is an orange-red flame called six-way reincarnation flame, ranking 21st. It was born in the big forest and is said to be the guardian flame of nature. The red flame in front of it is called the 10,000 beast flame, ranking 22nd, color, red. It has the effect of making all beasts surrender, and it is the guardian fire of the orcs. In front of him is a dark yellow flame called Suan yellow flame, ranking 23rd, color, dark yellow, exactly the same as ordinary flames, but its power is stronger than the flames condensed with douqi. Xiaoyan also briefly looked at the 22 different colored flames that were lined up in front of him, then waved his hands, and many flames.
Hi! I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get updated on my latest video. Thank you for watching.